And if you don't want to be entrepreneurial, that's cool. Then don't expect anything
So, yeah,
to sell, right? And but most people fall into that space where it's like, I don't want to do the work, but I want my books to sell.
that's right. And yeah, that's just setting yourself up for failure, I think.
Yeah. Um, a 20-minute conversation with the right person can equal years of failure.
Like I've every time I go to a conference, I do make connections that have just
Yeah.
jumped me. Like Kelly Armstrong, I'm going to her writing retreat this spring because I met her at DreadCon. See, but those are all kind of little conferences. Yours is going to be huge, but I have found the peopling has been invaluable at conferences.
And there's different, there's different things that you do, right? Like I know some people that are, they go to every single event there is, right? They just love them. That it's just their thing. Other people are like, they're very particular because they start to realize how much it takes out of their ability to write when they're gone for a week. So they may do like a high level mastermind where it's invite only and they know the 10 people and they trust those people and they're talking about really high level stuff. Um, and then they come to an event like ours. And, some people don't like a big event, but the strengths of a big event like ours is every single major player is going to come to our event, right?
I'm looking forward
We
to.
we have we have all of the major manufacturers and service providers. That first day of our conference is a industry expo. There's going to be 100 different companies that are, you know, solopreneur
Loved your
authors.
I loved
Go
your
ahead.
interview with Spoken. Like I have just used Spoken for a client. I'm doing some ghostwriting
Mhm.
and I'm doing their audiobook and I did it through Spoken. Hello, genius. And then I listened to your interview afterwards. I'm like, wow, like this platform is going to change things.
Yeah, and
And
so
that was with the Ally, right? I think you talked to them on the Ally podcast.
I can't remember all the things, but like our responsibility to the community is to bring in new technologies and new players, right? So like whether it's
Yes.
11 Labs or Spoken or Pseudo Right, there's and I know that it can be problematic for some people because of where technology is going and how some of these technologies were developed. But like our approach is like I want my community to see it first at our show.
Hmm.
And as adults, we'll talk through this and figure out like how is this going to impact us for good or bad, and how do we use it in our community. And
You're not the judge. You're just presenting the information, right? You're not
yeah,
assigning
yeah,
a role.
but I think um, because these things can be very emotional for some people, and
Hmm.
there is some truth to this, is that like when we have a company come at our event, it gives them cachet in the industry, right? Like people are going to
Oh,
see it and they're like,
okay.
um, but that's not, um, and we know we're doing a good job because there are some people that are like, oh, you guys are really pro AI. I don't like that. We got other people that are like, you don't do enough for the AI community. And then we have people that are like, oh, it seems to be very balanced. So like that's that appropriate
You're not gonna make
distribution.
everybody happy.
No, no, we never do, right?
No.
There's a lot of people that hate us because we're a big event in Las Vegas. There's a lot of people that love us because we're a big event in Las Vegas. Like we are going to be what we're going to be, and it's all driven by where we see the industry going, right? And I'll give you another. This will be another company that you probably don't know about that's going to blow. Have you heard of a company called Curios?
Tell me more
Yeah.
about Curios.
So Curios is another company that really first showed up at our event that we found. Found it through a client of mine who they came out of the music industry. They're an Austin-based technology company, and they're a kind of an alternative to Spotify. is my best way to explain it. And
Okay.
or not Spotify, an alternative to Shopify. But the idea is this is um, if you decide that you want to do direct sales, if that's something that you want to look at, having been doing this for a while, it used to be Shopify was a uh, pretty cost-effective alternative. But now, by the time you get your store built and you add all the add-on features and all the apps you need, you're gonna be spending $100 a month, and you still don't have a sale.
Right. Which authors don't.
Um, yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? So what you can do with Curios is you can go on that platform. You can set up a store and spin it up for free. There, you're not dealing with a giant mega company out of Canada. You're dealing with two guys in Austin that listen to the community and show up every show and are invested in our success. And the
Nice.
way their model works is it's kind of like Ticketmaster in the sense of like if you say my book is $10, you are going to get $10. They add on a service fee and profit for them.
So the
So that
consumer pays for it, you don't.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Um, and the other thing they have is some add-on features that you can do to help with discovery, right? So like, but the cool thing is you get all the information from the customer. So that's your customer. You're seeing all the data. And then what we've done is we've worked with them as a partner to say, okay, this is like with most companies, it's a chicken and the egg problem. What do I mean by that? I'm an author. I want to do this, but I don't have any customers. How do I get started? It's like, okay, well, what if, and this is going to tie back into the Kickstarter thing. What if, as a community with this Reader Nation brand, we're working to build discovery, right?
Right. Which is
What
everything.
if, right? What if we do some things where, as Reader Nation, um, we point readers who want to buy direct to our authors that are on the Curios platform. So there's things that, and this is what's cool when you're working with a company like them, is they're building specifically for us to allow us to market for the group to bring people in, right? So that you
Okay.
can sell more books, right? Because if I can help you sell more books, then you can afford to come to our show, right?
Absolutely. Right. Right.
Um, yeah, so I think, and I, I don't want to go all over the place, but this is
You're welcome to go
we're kind of,
anywhere you like, Joe. This is just me, you, and my, probably 1,000 viewers. So let's do it.
um, but like I circling back on what I think was like the core question you asked, which is like, what is it like if you show up there, and how do you make the most of a show like this?
Yes.
Um, I think that, the first thing you want to do is you want to get involved in some of the things we're doing online and in our community so you can start to kind of think through what you want to do.
Right. Which is
Um,
why I'm part of your Kickstarter cohort. Even though
yeah.
I was originally, somebody looked at my Kickstarter and went, "This makes no sense. It's muddled." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know if anybody's gonna buy
Well,
it."
but I've observed this because I've we've been, let's talk about the Kickstarter thing for a minute, because I think
Okay.
this is really important, especially for newer authors. Um, uh, Oriana Leckert, who's the head of publishing at Kickstarter, has been a huge supporter of our community, of the whole author publishing community for a long time. She's great. Um, what we did differently was is we said, hey, rather than you just coming and saying Kickstarter is awesome, like let's demonstrate this not only to the community but to your boss. So last year we started that Kickstarter cohort, and this is 100% free. Anybody can join it. In fact, we spend money advertising that so that we get people in, right?
Right. Right.
Um, because this is how we think at our show about marketing is like if if we bring a lead in that way and we help them win and succeed, they will then be a customer for life, right?
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
our objective, like let's just be completely commercial about this. Our objective is to turn everybody we possibly can into a multi-year ticket buyer, right?
Yes. Because that's
We
how
want
you're
you
now
to come to
making your
the
money. Yes.
right, come to the show your first year, and then every year after that, you come and you buy your ticket at the show. Like that. That is our best customer that's going to deliver lifetime value. That's just like somebody that buys your first book and reads your whole series.
You want
Now,
the
how
win.
do we get more of those?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So if
So
we bring somebody into this Kickstarter cohort who's like you, they don't know up from down, and first you just start lurking. You just go on the calls and you just listen. You hear people talking through this, and it starts to make sense. It's like, oh, okay. And then when you do finally get to the point where you're ready to do that, you have a community of people that know what they're doing say to you, yeah, this is too complicated, that you got to tone down this message, get rid of half of these tiers. Like you're going to be more successful. Your probability of funding will go up.
right.
And in our process, like again, I said, we're very data driven. We've been tracking all this on a spreadsheet. I can show you the spreadsheet. Like, so we have, I think
Can
we're
you
now
email me the
about,
spreadsheet? Maybe I'll look at your spreadsheet.
well, what the spreadsheet is us just tracking our community success, right?
Right.
So it's if you do if you participate, you put information in there and then we track it, right? So that we can learn. And here's some of the things we've learned. So like, well, let me talk about the results. So I think at this point we're about $80,000 in goals that people said, I want to raise this much money, right? And on average, it's about $1,000 in our community is what they're looking to raise. So not a lot. Those same people have raised $302,000.
Wow. So they've definitely
Okay.
overshot what they were looking for.
Yeah. So as an overall community, we've blown it out of the water. Now you can go and look, and there's some guys that, have had really big campaigns. Here's what's more important. This is something that Oriana did not know, nor did I when we started this. There is a terrific opportunity through our community to debut your book rather than launching on Amazon or building a shop, but starting where your first place that you launch your book is on Kickstarter. And on average, those people who have done that, we've got about 80% success rate. Um, they've raised $1,800 as their average, three times what they set for their goal. So, what's so profound about that is, if you remember way, way back 3 hours ago when we started talking, um, that most people don't make money.
Hmm. Yet people are making money immediately on Kickstarter.
So if on our community, we are shifting the odds that way, where right off from the start, you break even. Let's just assume you break even. So you know you're not digging into your savings or running up credit card bills on your first book. Like now we're solving startup business problems,
Which is genius. Yep.
right? And it feels so like that's how we're doing all this stuff. We're not just like, hey, we're going to have a show and have a bunch of authors hang out. It, those are cool and fun, and but like everything we're looking at is got a purpose, and we're doing these things so that we can, win at our business objectives of having a very profitable show, right? Where authors aren't trying to figure out how they're going to launch a book and pay for a ticket to our show, right?
I love it.
So
Yep.
yeah, so like that's why our like kind of this bigger thing is like I think that I think the show, just from the community perspective and the networking and the exposure you're going to get to a lot of these ideas that we're talking about,
Hmm?
there's no other way to deliver it.
No, it
Right.
seems pretty fantastic. Like, you know what we're doing?
Yeah.
I'm hijacking my 20-year anniversary with my husband. We're supposed to go to the East Coast. Guess where we're going now for our anniversary is coming with me. We're doing Author Nation.
There you go. There you go. Well, you can have a really nice anniversary in Vegas, right?
That's right. And he's never been, and he likes gambling and racehorses. So I'm like, this is going to be perfect.
Oh, oh.
So,
Well, if you
Joe.
really want to send a lot of money to heaven, stick around for the F1.
Oh,
That's the following week.
we we don't like tires. We like legs, four legs.
Oh,
I
okay,
live on I
okay.
live on a horse farm, actually. So, Joe,
Oh, okay,
I want to talk about you for a second.
okay.
Joe is an author, aren't you? I've noticed you've got books out there.
I do, I do. Yeah.
So what's going on with your writing and where do you want to go with it? And how does that tie in with what you're doing now?
So, most my stuff is all nonfiction,
Mhm.
and it's all about the publishing industry. So it has a lot to do with my learning and how like I consider myself a very creative person. Just where my creativity comes in is like what I'm doing with the show, right? Is how I have fun. I like to see things, and we haven't talked about like what we're doing with the anthologies and some other stuff, but like I like to see how we can pull these things together and build
You're going
stuff.
to have Author Nation anthologies?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. We've already done it. We're just doing more of them.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay, I'm going to have to explore that too. I love contributing.
yeah.
I'm a short story writer. That's actually where my short stories, I've sold over 100 of them. Ellery Queen Mystery
Okay.
Magazine, amazing stories. I kind of got the short story market on, I'm good at it. I got it. Oh,
So
it's
y-
gorgeous. Look at that.
yeah. So that was last year's romance anthology.
Nice.
So again, this is where like we put the pieces together. So last year, there was um, 29 authors that contributed to the romance anthology. Some first time writing, some pretty big deals. Uh, we ran that and sold it on Kickstarter,
How
and
much did you
then
make?
we raised, I think it was $23,000.
Okay, no anthologies make that. That's amazing.
And then so each author ended up making um, $190 each.
Nice. Very good.
Yeah. So the way it works is we run these anthologies, and we just do them. And then like what's cool is, and again, we're kind of figuring this stuff as we go along. Like so, we launch these things on Kickstarter. Um, we you know we learned about, one of the things we did as our highest tier was you could come and get the book, come to our Reader Nation event, get it signed. This year we're going to do it differently. We're still going to do all the Kickstarter stuff with these anthologies, and that'll be our main place where we sell these. And then we will sell. You can buy copies of these on the signing store for the event, but we're keeping them separate because it kind of confused the Kickstarter audience.
Right.
So we have that. We're going to do our second romance anthology
You
this
have all
year.
your authors already? Are you still looking for
Oh
authors?
yeah, sorry,
And wait, I
it's
missed the boat. It'll have to be next
yeah,
year. Okay.
yeah, we're in production mode because you
Okay.
gotta, but I'm gonna make you very upset in a minute because, um, so that was last year for romance.
Yep.
This year we're doing the romance anthology. We're also doing a, mystery thriller suspense
Cool.
anthology. And JD Barker and Mary Stone are contributing to it and editing it.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, that's cool. You know
Um,
what? There's always next year, Joe. Maybe I'll be
there
one
is,
of those.
but
Maybe I'll be coming back year after year.
well, this is the kind of stuff we're doing. So, but here's the one that I love, that I'm most excited about. It's kind of our white whale. So one of the guys that comes to the show is a guy named Robert Napton.
Okay.
Robert Napton was introduced to me through a longtime show person, great author named Tony Lee. Tony Lee grew up in the comics industry, and he was
Okay.
friends with Robert. Robert is the head of uh, comics at Legendary Comics, or the whole Legendary group, right? So the guys that did Dune and
Big
Frankenstein and
guys.
all this.
Yeah.
Big deal. Wonderful human being. So this year, we are in the process. Nobody's ever done anything like this before. It was kind of a project we rolled out last year at the event. So we had a session that Robert led about like how to adapt to a comic. And then the people that attended that got to submit a short story that we're adapting into comics.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we're going to have, I think it's 11 authors. Um, most of them are picked out of our community across multiple genres. We're in the process right now. We went through the whole scripting process, um, and now we're partnering them up with artists.
That's it. What an incredible experience. Like that's like
Yeah,
life goals, right? Have your work turned into a comic with an artist.
yeah, and by the way, in this particular um, one, we've got David Vergoot's is going to be in it. Jay and Cheney. These are people that have been in our community for years. We've got Eloisa James, who's a big historical romance writer. But the big name is Andy Weir's providing a short story.
Oh, that's gonna just sell like crazy.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I guess he can sell a movie or two.
I think the name's probably big. I think you got the name recognition going on, and it's pretty timely. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
Um,
That's a coup, a feather.
yeah. So what'll happen is we'll launch that as a Kickstarter over the summer and sell that, and then we'll also sell it at the event. Um, but again, this is the kind of stuff that we do um, to explore where we can take the industry.
I love it. Like I absolutely
And
love it.
yeah, it's fun. It's a little stressful in the sense of having it where we deliver a comic in November, right? So
That's
like
pretty tight. That's pretty tight. You got
it
your
is.
artist better be drawn quickly.
Well, so that's the part of this thing is like when you think about what we're doing as an organization, it isn't just coordinating an event and
No,
like we
creating.
yeah, and like we're paying those are real live artists that we're paying. And now we're kind of getting the nitty gritty of this project, but like those artists get paid per page they draw. But we
Right.
have to do that work ahead of time. So they have to be paid ahead of time. So I think we budgeted about $80,000 that we have to put in up front to do this project,
You know,
right?
I
So it's
think the
like,
Kickstarter is going to get it though. I mean, they do so well. Any comic sort of project seems to do really well, right? Like look at Russell Nordy's Barbarians, the one that they just
yeah,
made over 50 grand. And there's no Andy Weir there.
right. And, here's the other side of it is, Robert at Legendary, he was an early adopter of getting his company. Remember, this is a multi-billion-dollar production company that makes movies and TV shows and comics, and um, getting them to see the value of launching on Kickstarter first, and how that's kind of the industry standard in comics is you that's where you go and launch. And so, you know, our hope is not only do we knock this one out of the park, is that we get the kind of traditional comic industry to understand that, okay, there's a really rich community of storytellers that they should be tapping into
Yes. Yes.
rather than just, doing another iteration of Godzilla.
Yes, absolutely. And you're not going to knock it out of the park. You're going to knock it into space. That's how far this one's going for you. I can see it. This is going to be amazing. And yes, they absolutely, there's so much talent. Everybody's getting tired of regurgitated content.
Yeah.
Be brave, you big companies. Discover the talent, right?
Well, my background is I've, worked, I've been entrepreneurial my whole life, but I've had a lot of interaction with larger companies. And, um, a lot of those companies, they're never going to be the first movers. They're kind of really responsible for just trying to keep status
The
quo,
skippers, right? Yeah.
right? Like that delivers quarterly results, and they'll adopt once they know that it's the new thing. But like, that's okay. Like
So you're
that's
providing
not the
proof of
world.
concept. You're
Yeah,
providing proof of concept for them.
yeah. So yeah. So anyhow, kind of circling back to like my writing. My stuff is very dense. It tends to it like I wrote a book called Advantage. It's all about that power law curve market and how you build cumulative advantage. That there's this force that compounds over time in an audience that results in these threshold events that takes you to the next level. Um, these are all things. This is how I learn. This is how I come up with ideas, and then you know why we got involved in doing a show like this is that I see this as a really powerful vehicle to execute on what I said earlier, at the beginning is we're not looking to be like, oh well, how do we sell 10 more books on Amazon? It's like, how do we take this industry to a place where there's as little friction between the reader and the writer as possible?
I love it. It's
And
amazing. It's what we need.
yeah. And then helping people sort through like what's the right way for you is like, hey, there's certain genres that you trying to sell live doesn't really make a lot of sense. You should be in KU, right?
Like
You
what?
should be. Well, I just think there's
Spicy
like when you,
genres?
what's that?
Spicy genres or like which genres?
Well, I just there's certain genres that really sell well on that platform, and in the research, whether it's spicier stuff, or I know that like science fiction romance has been very strong there and continues to be strong. I like my point is like, hey, go run in and do this genre there. My point is like when you're thinking about what business you're building, think about what exists and what you want the future to look like. And um, there are certain genres that um, by you deciding to go wide and maybe even direct, you're making a longer road to hoe.
Oh,
I'm not saying it's good or bad, just know what you're getting yourself into.
that's interesting. It's interesting you say that because my current project, which is I'm growing on serial fiction and it's a sci-fi romance. And I never even thought of KU because I just hate I hate the whole you have to pay for ads for discoverability on Amazon and then they
Hmm.
take your profit. It makes me so angry.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and so let's talk through that. Like if you're doing serialized fiction,
I
like
am in shorts because I'm a short story writer who
uh,
has probably maxed out my income for short stories. I make a lot of money on short. I just sold one for $1,000 for 7,000 words. I can make money with short stories,
yeah,
but I am not going to reach income replacement with short stories, no matter how much money I make at it, right? Like it's just not a genre where you can that I found. If you can teach me differently, I'd love to hear it because that's my favorite thing. So I'm trying to then take my short story brain and then use my short stories to create longer formats so I can then sell them.
yeah. I
Why I
think
have
that part of what we would need to unpack is when I think of serialized fiction and short stories, they don't necessarily cross, right? And why I say that is when you look at a platform like Wattpad, or are you familiar with Royal Road?
not Royal Road, but Medium, Wattpad. What's Royal
Yeah.
Road?
So Royal Road is really for portal fiction and progression fantasy. It's where Matt Dinniman first started writing Dungeon Crawler Carl. He was writing it chapter by chapter. There's another guy named Nikolai Ganella, another one named Shirtaloon. These are guys that wrote, and I'll walk you through the model. Um, they were writing their, and in case like Nikolai, he still does this. So the first place that you would see his content is on a weekly basis in his Patreon.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And there's alternatives to Patreon. There's Ream. There's, people can build these on their own site. But
I'm on Substack. That's what I use.
yeah, so most of these folks are using something like Patreon, right? And the idea is what'll happen is they'll start writing, and let's say they've got 20 chapters done. They'll start putting those chapters out on Wattpad or um, this Royal Road for free. And they'll say on that page, like, hey, if you want to get further ahead in the story, you can join my Patreon for this, $10 or $5 a month. And I've got the next 20 chapters there.
Right.
Um, but you have to keep writing and writing and writing. And, it takes years, right? To build up a platform like that. What happened was those communities built an audience there. And then in that particular case where we're talking about Royal Road, fantasy and portal progression stuff really does well in audio.
Right.
Okay. So what happened was is publishers came into the space and would say to somebody like, hey, you've got 500,000 words written here. We need to turn those into books and make it into audio. That then put those people to make the decision to start pulling stuff off of those platforms, like the older stuff, and then turning it into a book. And they may some people went into KU, some chose not to, so they could keep their stuff published. But they then went and turned those into audiobooks. And they opened up an entirely new community of people that didn't know that Royal Road existed, don't read books, but listen to fantasy stories. And that's their biggest moneymaker, like significantly more, like millions of dollars more than but like the model is very clear, investing and building that audience in a place. Now, there are some people that like what kind of got them to pop on Amazon was, oh, my existing audience on Wattpad, when I launched on this new one, they came over and bought the audiobook because while they've been reading it chapter by chapter, they're going to they know the story, they want to hear it. And usually it gets, you go through an editing process and you pull it together and things change, right? So it's kind of an adaptation of the story. So I tell you that whole kind of thing is like what we're trying to do is say like that's one model that works in certain genres. And if it suits your writing style and what you're trying to do, then you should do it. You shouldn't do it and because that's how you burn out.
Right. Yes, burnout is definitely a thing.
And a lot of authors are like, oh well, those people all made money. I'm gonna go on Royal Road and write a lit RPG. And it's like, well, you don't know lit RPG. And you're not the kind of person that can put out, you know, a chapter a week and do it every single week. It's just
Well,
not how you're built.
that's exactly how I'm built.
Yeah.
So that is a very
So
interesting path to me. That sounds more interesting to me than having to sit behind a table at cons
yeah,
or yeah. And novels are I've written too. They're killer. And then the
yeah.
traditional path. Can we talk about how crazy that is? My agents had my novel for a year and a half, the first one, and it's pretty strong. I think it's very marketable. Nowhere yet. And then the second book I just finished. It's a fantasy portal. I just gave it to her. Now, how long am I going to have to wait before that gets out?
Well, and there's so many things that come into that process, right? Like, you know, this is here's my thing that I think is so interesting about I'm going to just speak to authors about is they're like, well, why, I've written this book and I gave it to my agent and what, and I've pitched it to all these people. Why aren't they putting more effort into it? And it's like, well, you're one of many things they're working on.
Right.
And if you're not willing to invest the time and money in your own work, why would you think anybody else does, right? Nobody loves your kids as much as you love your kids. We all got our kids. We're going to take care of our kids, right? And but no, it's like, well, no, you don't understand. This is the. And it's like, no, they've got 100 wonderful portal fictions that, right? And if you think that you're going to get treated differently, unless you're somebody like a big deal like Andy Weir, you're not. You're just not, right? Um,
You gotta
so
find your own marketing micro,
yeah.
right?
And the reality of it of traditional publishing is it's they have to take a portfolio mentality, right? Like they've got to pick a series of books that they're going to put their resources on that particular year. And if they're running it like a traditional publishing company, they know that these 3 to 5 books are going to be what makes all their money that year, and the rest they're going to lose their ass on. And it has to cover the losses and make profit. And like that's not a model that's going to be easy to sustain. So what's happening, especially in traditional publishing, is the traditional agent acquisition editor relationship is not where a lot of books are coming from. What they're doing is they're going to things like Alex Newton's KDP report, K-Lytics reports, and seeing like, oh, okay, here's these underserved genres. Here's these things that are going on. Why don't we go find indie authors that are doing well,
Knocking it out of the park and use their
right?
it's
And then just
everything's
give
been
them
taught.
the advantage of our wider distribution.
It's interesting. It's a very interesting time. I mean,
Yeah,
that's why I was
yeah.
trying to do like I've got the one book that see that my current book actually has a bit of a hook because it's co-written by my best friend who's a Stargate Atlantis star who has a huge built-in following, and they are relaunching Stargate Atlantis, aren't they?
Are they?
So yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
there's a remake. Well, not a they're a reimagining remake. It's
Ah,
slated, it's coming out, and which means I think the original stars, their names are going to be back,
hmm.
and that's a rabid fan base. So I actually think that there's lots of potential. I got like a million things going on. That's why I need
Hmm.
to go to your conference and learn how to focus.
Well,
Focus.
that's it. Don't come back with more shit on your list. Uh,
There's a high likelihood, Joe, but yes, you're right. I'm going to focus down and do a few things right.
yeah, I think, getting back to kind of the bigger theme of like, if I'm a new author coming to something like this, the work you do ahead of time to be like, okay, where do I want to be 2 years from now? What are
Right,
the stepping stones? Okay, let
right.
me figure that out. And that's what I'm going to learn this year at this show, right? And
That's
some of
great
that
advice.
stuff you'll realize you don't even have to come to the show. Like if you don't have a book out, I mean, that's fine. If you want to come, you're welcome. There'll be people like that. But there's a lot of things that you can't do because you don't have that, right? Um, so maybe you just hang out in our community, you do the Kickstarter, you get your books launched, then you come to the show. We're going to be here.
I
Yeah,
have
we're
six books
we're
out. I have six
yeah.
self-published books and two books with my agent. And I think before I come, I'm going to launch my space opera novella with my Roxy Vega, who exists on the serial fiction. And I've got a lot of audio already created with it. So it's like, I feel like I probably am in the right place to come to
Yeah.
your,
Yeah, I think at that kind of spot where you can come and you can hear, because the other part of it is under like a show like ours, um, you'll you'll hear stuff um, that maybe not happening yet, but you're knowing it's gonna like coming down the pike,
hey, Joe, I
right?
don't want to go, I don't want to chase, what is it? The Wayne Gretzky, whatever. I don't want
Yeah,
to chase the puck. I want to go where the puck is going, right? And I think,
yeah.
and I think I need your people to figure out where the puck's going.
Well, I mean, honestly, we're one of our things is we're trying to fill a room full of pucks. Like part of the thing is like, I mean, honestly, I mean, I'm not trying to take it out of other shows, but it's like there's a lot of places you can go. There's a lot of courses you can take. There's a lot of things you can do where people are saying, like, here's how you do it.
Right.
Okay. So some of those people I listen to. What I'm saying is how many shows are doing it? How many shows have like we started with no readers on a list. Like we've got our list is going over 10,000. These are people that physically show up. We're focused in a really interesting marketplace in Las Vegas where within a 2 hour flight in a less than a 3 hour drive is 21 million people.
That's
And
true.
we
Yeah.
went right, and we went from like nobody even knowing what we're up to through a rebranding process into this year we have already sold 120 VIP tickets at $150 a piece. Right
Right.
now, the person that is going to come physically to a reader event and has already spent $150, they have more money to spend.
Right.
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 I know there's authors that have a real scarcity mentality that are like, well, oh, you already got them for $120 or it's
I
like,
know.
no, these people they love reading, they love listening, they're gonna come, they want to buy special editions, they want to meet authors. These are the kind of they're a different kind of customer class. They're not going to buy books in KU. They probably don't even know KU exists.
Right.
The only books they may read for the next year are the books that they buy at our event. They'll walk around, they'll buy a couple $1,000s worth of books, and they're set for the rest of their life or for the rest of the year. And they'll come back
Right.
next year. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like that'd be my
So,
the whale reader. She buys all her books, you know, in
yeah,
person and then enjoys them that way. So
yeah.
interesting. Well, Joe, I really feel like I've taken a lot of your time and I could probably sit here with you all day because I feel like there's so many parts of your brain I haven't been able to explore yet. But I'm so thankful and so grateful and really excited about what you have on offer.
Yeah, we're having a blast doing this. We've got a lot of, a lot of moving parts that we're orchestrating um, and we're here. We're contracted to keep doing the show through just signed into 2029.
Oh, wow.
So like yeah,
Very
like
good.
we're
And then
having fun. So
you're just going to grow. But does this take away from your writing? Do you need to write or does this feel your creative well?
this is um background I what I was doing was I had a group of high net worth authors that I was helping manage their business. I've got just a few of those clients left because I've put all my effort into this event. And that was a hard thing to do, right? Because I loved working with them and they were all amazing people and very successful. And I loved working on their businesses. But the reality is this is a better use of my skills. And this is, similar to like what you're talking about is figuring out where you're going to write. My writing for me is how I explore problems and come up with solutions. Um, the show is my mechanism for doing the stuff. So, and for example, I know you were trying to wrap up, but here we go again. Um,
Hey, I've got all day.
um, one of the things we changed this year with the show, it had to do with structuring it so that the signing event fell on a Saturday rather than a Friday, so we get more people to show up for that. But one thing we're testing out this year, we don't know if it'll work. The only way you know is you just do it. So on Friday morning, um, rather than having um, 1 hour long sessions, so you know, we run 8 rooms on Wednesday and Thursday with like 9 sessions running on every hour. So like we have like 100 different things going on for that. But on that Friday morning, we're going to do a 3 hour, this is included in your ticket, a 3 hour marketing workshop that's going to be led by myself and the folks at Reedsy. I think Martin Kavanaugh is going to be there, and certainly Ricardo Fayette. And these guys are some of the preeminent guys in marketing. But what we're doing right now, the part that people don't get is like, what's going to be the case study stuff we're using? Well, it's going to be all the marketing we're doing for Reader Nation and for Author Nation. You know, we're running campaigns that we can show you. We can show you how we're finding readers and getting them to show up. Like, um, so the whole idea of you know, how we can kind of test things out and figure out what's best for the show, figure out what is best practices for the industry, and me personally feel fulfilled. That's like I'm in a really good spot. I got that. I don't need the writing. That doesn't take it away. But I did recognize that like I'm I just it's kind of, I don't always say it nice. It's like if I'm working on your business, it's your business, and at some point it's your choice, and you can be like, well, I don't, that's great, Joe, it's a great idea, but I'm not going to do that, I'm too busy. And it's like, but I know it's going to work.
Right.
In this situation, it's like I don't have to ask anybody.
Right. It's your
Right,
business.
it's my business and I can go do this. And the result is like, oh, we're building up this massive reader community, right? Our reader list is bigger than our author list now.
That's crazy.
Right. Um,
Oh my God.
and then those resources in my hands with the ability to tap somebody like Ricardo Fayette and say, hey, Ricardo, look at all this information. What do you think about this? What should we be doing? What, you know, he was this, there's a kind of a crazy side. Last year at our show, he introduced the idea of running TV commercials.
Okay. You're in
And
my
so he
world
was,
now. Yeah.
yeah, like he was talking the other day, he was on my TV.
Who's cutting your promos? Who's making the promos?
He's doing those promos, right?
Okay.
Like
That's, by the way, that's my background. 28 years cutting TV promos for Global TV. So that's why I'm like, oh,
yeah. So
promos, of
like
course they work.
I can't, I'd have to go back and watch the session, but like, this is, we have direct TV. So I don't know like which thing it was feeding through, but like
Okay.
multiple times I've seen the Reedsy commercial with Ricardo and Martin. It's, high production level. It's great talking about their company. Um, but it's like, okay, those are the kind of guys that are circling around this thing. And oh, by the way, you go back in time, last year also, James Patterson was speaker at our show. How how James Patterson got Along Came a Spider to take off. People don't know this, but he was a big deal Madison Avenue ad exec. I can't remember which company it was. It was one of the big ones. And he was trying to get his publisher to run a TV ad for Along Came a Spider, and they wouldn't do it. So he did it himself and ran it, late night on,
Right. Shopping channels.
you know, UHF channel or something, right? Like back in the
Yeah.
old days, right? This is when a TV had to get up and turn the knob, right? And now that's standard practice. But like that was an author fighting with his publisher about how I can sell more books. They weren't willing to look at this guy as like, oh, like he knows a thing or two about marketing, right? And it's like here we are for full circle where now that's accessible for all of us.
Right.
And how do we explore that? And does it make sense? Maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe it does. I don't know. But like,
It's wild. I love
yeah.
that. And I did not know
So,
about James Patterson, so thank you.
yeah. So, here'd be the question I'd say to anybody, in your audience that's listening to this, you know, who do you think is going to have more of an advantage in the marketplace? Folks that are coming to our show and talking about this kind of stuff, or people that are just like sitting in their house writing a book and hoping?
But somebody's going to find it. Well, exactly.
Like,
Right.
it's not a fair market, and we're not, for the folks that come to our show, again, we tip the probabilities towards their success. Um, and that's what it's about, right? But like, if you're not doing this kind of stuff, just hoping somebody's going to find your book, or you hope you're going to get an A, that's just you're
Or just believe you're
yes.
doing it for art, not for profit. I will scream off the mountaintop. I want to make money from my writing. So
Well, that's fine
it doesn't have to
if
be
you.
just my soul doesn't need to be fed. I want to feed my wallet too.
Well, but look, here's the cool thing. Here's the cool thing. If you just want to write a book, if you just got this book that's burning a hole in your soul, the amazing thing is you could launch that book once you've got it written for almost no cost into the world's largest bookstore for free. There is no gatekeepers. Oh, but you want other people to buy that book
That's a
and
whole
give you
nother
money
step.
for it.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing,
No.
because there's a couple things in that, right? There's like, uh, you're asking me to make a choice between my $10 and your book.
Hmm.
Well, why? And why would I spend this $10 on your book, not somebody else's book? That's a business. That's a whole other thing. So
That's
I just
sales. That's sales.
right. So as an author entrepreneur, then you've got to deal with all that stuff. If you just want to be an author, you just want to write poetry and sell it, put it up on your website and do whatever. Go ahead, do that. Right? Like that's cool. Like, let's not forget the guy who's speaking at our show this year, Andy Weir. The Martian started out as a free serialized story that he was putting up on his website that clearly he has not updated. Like, it still is really early 2000s. But out of that came this outlier event
Yes,
where
yes.
Ryan Gosling comes to him and says, I have to make this book into a movie. He didn't go find him. Like, right. So, you know, if you really are looking to be entrepreneurial, then be entrepreneurial, but don't try and not be entrepreneurial. And if you don't want to be entrepreneurial, that's cool. Then don't expect anything
So, yeah,
to sell, right? And but most people fall into that space where it's like, I don't want to do the work, but I want my books to sell.
that's right. And yeah, that's just setting yourself up for failure, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, Author Nation Live, go there, learn all about it. We also have community.authournation live, which is completely free. We're not trying to sell you anything. That's where you can learn about the Kickstarter cohort and all these different projects. The anthology, come to the show this year and you'll learn all about what we're going to do next year. But this year, we're in production mode.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.